Welcome to the School of Bliss podcast, where we learn things that school didn't teach us. My name is Yani. I'm a professional life and financial coach. But in this podcast, I'm your classmate in learning about how to be happy, healthy, and super wealthy. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the School of Bliss podcast. If you've been a bestie in Quarter Life Bliss, welcome back and welcome to the new show. I'm very, very excited to share with you guys what I have in store for you and maybe share with you also why I changed the name. So, I know it's been a while since I created an episode, and I'll talk more about it in the coming episodes of bakit baka natagalan talaga gumawa ng bagong podcast, no? I launched the rename around January, and today it's March 29, and hindi ko pa din talaga nasimulan. I actually started the podcast na rin with Alec, which is the Date Nights podcast. But this one, I've been parking it for months already. And I think it's just time for me to really go out there and spread the bliss and spread the happiness to you guys. So let's start with why did I have to rename it from Quarter Life Bliss to the School of Bliss? So just a quick background, I actually started Quarter Life Bliss when I turned 25. So if you've been a follower since 2020, I actually made a live stream called Quarter Life Bliss for me to celebrate my 25th birthday online, since that was like the height of the pandemic, so no one's really out, and I wanted to celebrate my birthday with online friends and with friends. So I named that Quarter Life Bliss. It was actually a hit, especially the name. People really liked it and the idea of it and the main purpose of Quarter Life Bliss. So I said, why not make it or turn it into a real podcast? So, if you guys could remember, mga 2021, when I started creating a podcast, I actually have like a goal kasi bumili ako ng pink na mic, 'di ba? Tapos yung pink na mic, sabi ko kailangan ma-ROI ko siya. So I need to create a podcast para magamit ko siya and ma-justify ko yung pagbili sa pink na mic. But little did I know that Quarter Life Bliss will have 4 seasons, 50 episodes, and it will be something that people really wait for every week and people look forward to listening to. And until next thing I know, I'm already 27 and turning 28 this year. And so I remember a couple of friends, Ayin Bernos, Joy Spring, mentioned that how will I be able to continue Quarter Life Bliss if I'm past my quarter life or I'm past my 20s? So I said, if I think of the right name, or if I parang if I download the right name, I will change it eventually. So I was really waiting for the download, and I think it was early this year or late last year that I realized, why not change it to the School of Bliss? Because what I realized is, if you want to be successful, we study success. If you want to be good with science, we study science. If you want to be good with language, we study language. But how come we never studied happiness? We never studied wealth. We never studied how to be truly healthy. And so I wanted to rebrand and relaunch this podcast to talk about happiness, health, and wealth. Okay, can I just start with saying I'm not actually a fan of going to school. I'm not that student. If you were my classmate in high school or college, you know that I would always be absent, especially in college. Cutting yung tawag doon, or nakalimutan ko. Pero nag-absent talaga ako nung college madalas, no? And nabubuli na nga ako because I was always absent, and people are joking na engineer na ba si Yani? Bakit wala siya dito? 'Di ba? So, I'm not actually fond of school. And what I realized is that it wasn't because school was not informative, or the way I look at myself is I don't like studying. It wasn't that way. What I realized is I wasn't excited to go to school because the lessons that they talk about is not something that I'm really interested in. Like, let's say, calculus, algebra, especially I am from engineering, physics, SMAT, or strengths of materials. I'm not interested in that, in those. And so I wasn't excited to go to school. But what I'm interested right now is really finding real happiness, finding bliss, being wealthy, being healthy as well. And if those are the things that I talk about, or if those are the things that the school is discussing, I would have been very diligent as a student. And so I realized that there's no school for us to really study these things. Kaya sabi ko, sige na nga, I'll just make it my podcast, 'di ba? I don't need to build up a school. It's just a virtual podcast um where I could just talk about things that really excites me, and I hope a lot of people also do. And we all will be a student of life. So I'm not your teacher here. I'm your classmate. Because in reality, every day we're learning something new. And so every day, gusto ko lang din i-share sa inyo yung mga natututunan ko. 'Di ba? Yung mga daily learnings ko. We have a virtual classroom. And so I also want this podcast to be really connection, to build connection with my audience, my community, aka my classmates, because I feel like we can draw learnings from each other. That's why I have a community, which by the way, kagabi ko lang naisip to call it a virtual classroom. I have a community, the School of Bliss, but I realized it should be a virtual classroom where we really learn from each other as classmates. Or pwede rin tayo magkopyahan doon. 'Di ba? And yeah, what to expect in this podcast, I'm thinking of doing. Oh, by the way, I'm in my bedroom, and sabi ni Alec, if I do 21 days straight of recording, he will give me a neon light signage here sa gitna. Soon. It should say stay blissful. Actually, may design na ako pero nanghihinayang ako magpagawa. Because sabi ko, paano kung hindi ko naman ituloy yung podcast? Ganon. But he said, if I record 21 days straight, he will give it to me as a gift. So, let's go, guys. Help me be help me be consistent with creating content. Yeah, what to expect in the podcast? It's number one, I'm preparing actually to do 21 days of learning, 21 days of bliss. I'm calling it 21 days of bliss daily podcast. So I might look like I'm coming from the gym or from a quick nap when I record, but definitely I'll be creating contents every day, hopefully. No, that's one. Number two is eventually I also want to invite guests, which could possibly help us understand more of the things that you want to guys learn. So in the community, I'll definitely be creating polls there, or on my Instagram at the School of Bliss underscore on Instagram. What else? What else is there to look forward to in the podcast? I don't know, guys. I mean, I want this to last. I like talking, I like speaking, I like teaching also. Only with the things that I'm really interested in. So, ako, if there would be 10 times, 100 times more people who are much happier, much healthier, and much wealthier after listening to the podcast, and I will definitely do that. And I guess, yeah, that's it. That's what's in store for you. I still don't know. I can't promise, but what I'm really excited about is creating contents again and going back to Spotify or Apple Podcast for this podcast. And can I just say also, quick shout out to the Quarter Life Bliss besties who've been messaging me and bugging me. When will I release an episode on the School of Bliss? When will I be going back to recording? Malakas yung imposter syndrome ko, but because of you guys, you believe in me and my contents and in what I do. And with that, I'm really, really grateful. And that really pushed me to push through with this podcast because sabi ko, sayang naman may listeners na, sayang naman may mga taong nag-aantay, nag-aabang ng content ko. So why not create something out of it, 'di ba? Yeah, I don't know what else to say. But welcome to the School of Bliss, and I hope you enjoy each episode that I will be creating for all of you guys. Bye.